right. Well, this morning I'm talking with GCS Glass Mirror founder Brandon Nicastro. That company is formerly known as Grand Canyon State Glass. GCS was founded in 2013 by Brandon, and they have two locations as of today, one in Phoenix and one in Denver. The website is gcsglassandmirror.com. You need to check out this website. This is a really cool website. Now, I'm not going to give away what it is, but check it out. Believe me, you'll go, wow. Brandon, thanks so much for joining us this morning. I really appreciate your taking time out of your busy schedule to just chat for a bit.
No worries. It's a pleasure.
So I'm guessing that you changed the name from Grand Canyon State when you expanded to Colorado. Is that right?
Yeah. What we decided was when we kind of came up with the name Grand Canyon State Glass Design, it was a cool name because we are, in the Grand Canyon State. The original logo kind of incorporated the Arizona license plate with the mountains, the little skyline of the mountains and all that. But what we came to found out was every time we tried to tell someone our name, it was like Grand Canyon State Glass Design. And when we were writing stuff out, Grand Canyon State Glass Design, and it started becoming, a really long name. And it was almost one of those things where like, man, I kind of regret making this name so long by just having to write it out all the time and, trying to find your email or your website or for your all that. And it was like, so what are we going to do to change this? And it became, we started answering our phones as Grand Canyon, GCS Glass, GCS Glass Mirror. And finally, I had the goal of franchising at one point, and I decided I don't really want to franchise per se anymore, but when we opened up our other location in Colorado, it's kind of like a franchise, but not. I went partners with someone out there, and we decided, we can't use Grand Canyon State Glass Design in Colorado because it's off. So we kind of came up with a thing to do GCS Glass and Mirror, and it was easier to do. It was easier for marketing. It was easier, to kind of have multiple locations if we wanted to expand even more with GCS Glass over Grand Canyon State Glass Design.
It's interesting when you pick a name at the beginning when you're starting up. I could totally identify with that because I picked a really long name for my business. I was like, oh man, now every time someone writes me a check, I'm like, I apologize, that the name of my business is so long.
Right. I mean, in the beginning, I was getting checks. I was surprised that the banks were cashing them. I'd get checks as Grand Canyon State Glass, Grand Canyon Glass, GC Glass, like all different kinds of names on these checks for us. And, they took them with no issues, but it was just, it was one of those things that even to this day, people still introduce us as Grand Canyon Glass. And that's not our name, but, I'm not going to sit there and correct someone when they're trying to introduce us as that. But we're trying to rebrand as GCS Glass and Mirror. I think that's the better look, the better name for what we have. And then now we always kind of have a throwback logo to kind of go back to our roots later on in life if we want.
So 2013 wasn't that long ago. You've experienced some explosive growth. So what do you attribute that to?
I'm just driven. So I've always been really driven in anything I do, and I'm really competitive. So when I left, I actually left in 2013. I was working for a Fortune 500 company by the name of LeavingASCO. They own a lot of different. They're building envelopes. They own a lot of different companies. Like they own Milgard Windows, Delta Fixtures and Faucets, cabinet companies, framing companies. They own lots of stuff. They own a company called Gale, and when I was there, that was the last company I was at. So when I was there, I got hired on as an installer, and I worked there for about 3 months. They did backpacks. It was just showers, mirrors, medicine cabinets, and accessories, and track homes, Meritage Homes, Standard Pacific, and all that. Well, the manager that was running it didn't have experience running the glass thing, and he quit after 3 months, and I'm like, well, here we go. Like, I'm going to need to find a new job because this is the type of company that's going to they'll just close the doors if the division's not doing good. They're not going to try to salvage it. So I made a decision to, put it on my back and run with it. And I started doing all the drawings, getting all the ordering stuff over to the purchasing manager, doing all the measures myself, most of all the installs myself. I had one helper, and we were knocking out a ton of houses, and it got to a point where I was like, look, I need to be promoted. I need to be a manager or supervisor or something here. And it kept coming up, look, can't pay you. We don't have any this. And it just got to a point where I was like, this isn't for me. I started getting my exit strategy going and what I wanted to do, and I ended up leaving and kind of went from there. And a couple contractors followed me when I left, but my buddy was one of the main sales guys there for the custom shower doors, so I didn't go after the other ones. I let them come to me. I didn't pursue them. I just didn't want to do that to him because, that was his livelihood, and I can always get more work. So I started cold calling people and trying to set up meetings with guys, and went from there. I did no advertisement in the beginning. I got my license right away. Well, I did all the stuff to get my license, and it just took a while to approve my license. They were just, how the states are, they're just behind in getting license approved. And so I couldn't go work for some of the bigger contractors because, I'm waiting on my license. I can only do homeowner stuff and smaller things. And that's pretty much what I did, was just word of mouth. I advertised through Craigslist, here and there. Got a whole bunch of those crappy leads and tried to make the best of them. And Facebook really wasn't a thing. It was a thing in 2013, but it wasn't the marketplace, and all the advertisements you can do on Facebook wasn't like it is nowadays. So I didn't really utilize that tool. It was mainly word of mouth and trying to drive by a house being framed and stop it in and trying to talk to someone or leave a card. Just trying to get my name out there as much as I could. And my numbers are pretty good for the first year in business. I came out the gate and did almost $250,000 in gross revenue the first year. Didn't look back, just kept going.
So you really started from scratch.
I did. I literally lived with my girlfriend and her parents, and I started the company out of the bedroom. Like, their garage was just full of stuff, and I didn't even have a garage. I had a little side yard that I stored some glass on, but I literally just started from nothing. And to make the jump to what I did, a little backstory. I lived in California for about 7 years in San Diego, northern San Diego, like Escondido, San Marcos area. I worked in Encinitas. I was married and I had 2 children, and when I got divorced, and that's when I moved back to Arizona because that's where I'm from. It was one of those things when I was just with child support, and I was paying spousal support, and it was like almost half my net check was gone every week, and I was living with my mom, and it was a terrible time. And I was like, man, how am I gonna claw my way out of this? And when I left Yale, I was with my wife now. She was my girlfriend, and she had a really good job. And I had it in the back of my head that I can lean on her if I had to, but that wasn't my plan. I made a little bit of money just off a few side jobs, and I left Yale before I wanted to leave Yale. I wasn't ready, but something came up when they tried to tell me I couldn't take the Friday off after Thanksgiving because I didn't have any PTO, and it was month in, and I had to be there for month in because that's what all the managers had to do. And I was like, I'm not a manager though. I'm an installer. And my ex-wife she was being really tough with my kids, and she wasn't letting me see my kids when I was supposed to. And I didn't see my kids for 6 months. That was probably the longest period. And I was finally getting them for that Thanksgiving, so I was taking that Friday off. So I literally put in a week and a half notice because I couldn't give them the 2 weeks, but I gave them a week and a half. I talked to them. I ended up staying around for I think a month longer. After that, the manager gave me my time off and kind of went from there. But I didn't really have a savings or anything. I kind of just went out. I had one contractor that I met. He ordered all his own showers and just wanted an installer to do a shower. So I ended up, that was kind of my thing that helped me get going, was that job right there, just him kind of installing showers. It was kind of a little bit of a safety net. And I just looked, I was like, man, if I can just imagine how much I can do if I had a full day's worth of work instead of trying to do something after work. I know I can just get out there and go after and get it done. So that's kind of what it was. It was literally starting from nothing, starting from scratch, and going from there.
Wow. So cold calls, knocking on doors. Did you even have like a glass truck?
I had a pickup truck that I put a windshield rack in, and I carried a lot of my stuff like that. I carried some. I have some pictures. I carried some big pieces of glass in that windshield rack. Like literally, I'm talking like looking like a shark fin over the top of my truck. Literally, piece of glass right in the center of it with a ratchet strap over the top of it to keep it from wobbling.
Oh yeah.
And that was it. And I got window perf on the back of my window. And I look back at it now, I'm like, man, that was the way I did those designs are so cheesy. Like, it was just, I ended up building an A-frame rack because I had some bigger pieces that I couldn't carry in my truck in that rack. So I built an A-frame that literally flipped over that windshield rack. So I was able to slide glass in between the A-frame on the windshield rack and put bigger pieces on the outside. And that's what I did for, I want to say, probably a little over a year. And then I bought a van. I ended up buying a used Chevy Express and went from there. That was we moved out of her parents' house into an apartment and then I got a one-car garage and started doing a little bit out of there. And I bought that van and it started getting busier and busier, and then it just, went from one thing to another. Yeah, I was just doing everything I could to make money. I was hanging pictures for people. We would do shower door work in their house or mirror work, and they'd ask us a question about a picture frame, and I've always used lasers, levels and lasers, but I used a laser a lot, so I would hang, pictures for people if they needed them too, just for extra money, and it worked out.
Awesome. Yeah. Extra mile service, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So now, have you always worked in the glass industry, or have you had other jobs along the way?
So I've been in the glass industry for 16 years now. I started when I was 18. I moved to San Diego the first time and started working for a large company in San Diego, Discount Glass Mirror, and doing commercial, making $7 an hour.
Wow.
Partying. And before that, I had some odd jobs through high school. I worked at Subway. I worked at some telemarketing, and then the last thing I did before I got in the glass industry is I worked at a bike shop doing bicycles. But I had there was a little bit of a break in the glass industry. I want to say it would have been right around 2009, 2010. I went to school and I was going to become a paramedic firefighter, and I did the EMT class. I got a job as an EMT basic as just pretty much a transport person on an ambulance, and it was the coolest thing, landing the job and finally doing that. And I had to do that they wanted 6 months on an ambulance as a prerequisite to get in the paramedic school. I didn't necessarily want to be a paramedic. I wanted to be a firefighter more, but in San Diego County, you had to be a paramedic to be a firefighter. But I literally worked there probably for 2 weeks, and I couldn't afford the pay cut. I had my second kid was about to be born, and it just wasn't for me. So I got out of it, got right back into glass, and that's when everything started going downhill from there. My ex-wife, kind
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you look back and think, oh man, I kind of dodged the bullet on that one.
Yeah, exactly. But that's pretty much it. It's been a glazer most of my life. You know, I didn't get into I never got into the union. I looked at it, thought about it in San Diego. Arizona doesn't have a union anymore. It went broke and stole a whole bunch of money from the glazers out here, and it kind of disappeared. But I like doing the custom stuff and the shower doors, and just never really went that way. So I've done a lot of commercial work though, with some curtain wall and just regular storefront, but I prefer the custom side of it.
What's something that you're not very good at?
I would say probably bidding plans sometimes. Like I can bid the job, and I'm fine bidding the jobs, but sometimes plans they're hard to read sometimes with different architects. And not necessarily mainly shower doors anymore, but if I do get in the storefront, it's just, to me, that I can get through it, but I kind of shy away from it just because I don't want to make a mistake on a storefront bid. So I that's probably my biggest thing right now is just bidding it. I don't have any issues installing, like getting everything out the back door of the building is fine, installing and all that. It's just, I would say the office stuff, I guess, is probably the main thing, learning the office stuff, because I was never really in the office. I was in it a little bit at a couple companies, but all this stuff is new to me, and I'm still learning to this day with the, tax stuff and making sure documentation is correct, and all that. So that's probably my biggest thing is, I would say, just the office work.
Yeah, the employee stuff, regulations, taxes, that stuff just bewilders me. I struggle with that kind of stuff. On a pretty regular basis, I'll get a contractor will send me over a set of plans and say, hey, we bid this. And you open the plans and it's like there's floor plans, there's no details, there's no elevations, it's just like, so how am I supposed to bid this job based on just a footprint? No idea what the finishes are, no idea how big they are, have no idea which way anything's hinging or anything else, And I stick, pretty strictly to shower doors.
Yeah, that's a struggle. I mean, that's what we deal with. I'm sure there's a lot of people that deal with that, and the biggest thing is too, if it's a contractor that I do work with and the plans are crap, I already do work with them, so I already know how I'm bidding their stuff, because we're just going to bid it usually the same way we do, and we'll change from there if we have to. But if I'm trying to bid a new contractor, it's like, if there's no information, it's so hard to bid it and be apples to apples to somebody else, because we're going to look at it the way we do shower doors, and someone else is going to look at it the way they do shower doors, and they could be doing something different that's cheaper or vice versa, and it's a tough one. So I've ran into some really bad plans, but there's also been some good ones out there. I mean, I love it when I can pull up the door schedule and they got the shower doors stuff on a door schedule. It's awesome, but it's rare that it happens.
Yeah, that's true. And that's a great point too. I mean, an existing customer is easy to deal with. You know what they expect. You know how they're going to respond to your information. But a new person, you just have no idea who they are or what they're thinking or what they're after. And that's tricky to navigate that.
Yeah, definitely.
What's your favorite part of being in business?
I think mine is just watching it grow. Like I've always been, I guess, the entrepreneur type. When I was in high school, I started up a couple clothing companies that didn't go anywhere, but it was just something to do. But I think for me is being able to see a brand that you're building grow and touch people, and being able to help a client out with their design and on to seeing the finished product. So I would say that's probably the biggest thing that, I think.
Where do you get your best ideas from?
I get ideas from a lot of my employees. They'll come to me with an idea, and we'll talk about it and kind of go over it. I'll see inspiration photos, come through, or I'll see like a designer packet come through and a set of plans that I'm bidding, and I'll take that, change it up a little bit that I think would look better. And a lot of the ideas that we have, I mean, there's been some that we've created on our own, but there's been designers come to us with some of these ideas, and what it does is it's an idea that they have, but it sparks something totally different. When you're thinking about one thing, and then all of a sudden, something else pops up, and that's how, for me, that's how an idea pops up. Is kind of off of that.
Yeah, well, I think that it's awesome that you're open to innovation from within your own organization, willing to listen to people's ideas, let people have a creative input into the company where they work. I mean, I think that really helps a boss, retain people.
I've always been like that. I don't really want someone to work for me that is scared to talk to me or talk to my manager or any of that. I have an open door policy. If you have an idea, if you have a question, I've always been the type to take it and run with it. And if it's something that's going to help out, I'm all for it. I've always told, the helpers in the past or apprentices that are helping me, if you have an idea that you think, feel free to let me know. If you think it's going to help us out and get better, by all means, share it, because I don't have all the ideas. I know how to install a lot of stuff, and I know how to install it my way. And yes, I do feel like the way I install stuff is good. But is there room for improvement? There's always room for improvement with anybody. So I love it when guys, come up and have ideas and, try to have an opinion on stuff. And I think it's great for the company. It's a great motivational thing for employees and such on.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is, if you had an opportunity to give input to your previous employer, you may still be an employee somewhere.
Exactly. That's kind of how I see it. And that was my biggest thing when I started my company. I've worked for quite a few companies in the past, and my biggest takeaway from them was I want to try to treat my guys the way I was never treated as an employee from other companies. I don't want to be the company that just takes all the money and sits on a pedestal, and I got these guys working for me. I always tell these guys, look, I'm equal. Like, yes, I own the company, but I'm an equal. I'm going to treat you with respect, and I want to be treated with respect. And our slogan around here is, we have it on our sleeves or our shirt, we are GCS. Like, we are a company. When someone fails, it's not, we don't put it on that one person. We failed as a company because obviously if you failed, there's a reason you failed. It's either because of me, or it's because of management, or it's something else that has caused you to fail without getting you the right tools. So I just try to keep it a level playing field and do the nice things that I wish were done. If the things were done for me a certain way when I was coming up in the industry, I might not own my own company. I might still be working for somebody. So I try to give the guys that work for me a better shot than I had to grow with the company and expand with the company.
I love that. What would you say to the man or woman who's thinking about starting their own business in the glass industry today?
I would say go for it. I would, if you have a fear of failing, I think that's a good thing, because you should fear it, because that's going to keep you driven and motivated. But you just, money and just to get a job, working out of their house. And I get it, I work out of my house, but you got to go with the industry. You can't just undercut, be a low baller to get business. It's just not the right thing to do. So if I could say anything, just, go out there, be competitive. I'm not saying don't be the low guy, but be competitive and go out there and make your money and make a name for yourself. I think it's good. I think competition is good in the industry because if there wasn't competition, then your work's not going to show.
Yeah, good work is worth good money, right?
Yep.
Have you had a solid string of successes, or have there been some bumps along the way?
Oh, there's been a lot of ups and downs. It's still ups and downs. I mean, it's still to this day. I mean, just yesterday was a terrible day. But I'm going through a lawsuit right now on a job, so that there's a nice down right there. It's a thing I'll learn from, but it's on the outside. You can look at the company and you can look at the Instagram page. You can look at our Facebook page or whatever. It all looks amazing, and what social media does, it makes most people only post good stuff. They're not going to post their the bad stuff. And I would say honestly, in business, I feel like I have a lot more bad days than I have good days, but I just make the best of them. It's like I was telling you earlier, I'm a perfectionist, and it's hard for me to, even if 9 out of 10 jobs go right in a day, to me it's a loss because that last job didn't go, and that's the way I look at it. It's hard sometimes by judging it like that because, most people say that's a successful day, but to me, I want everything to get installed because I don't want to upset customer, or I strive for that perfection. So I think there's a lot of ups and downs for sure, and I would say there's more downs than there are ups. But when the ups are up, it's awesome and it's amazing. And even when the downs are down, you're still doing what you love. It's your company. You gotta go through it, and it helps when I sit back and have those downs, and I sit back and I think of processes I can put into place and make things better, and what can I do to help here or there. It makes me feel better, and it doesn't feel as bad to have those downs when you're actually trying to work back on the business.
Brandon Nicastro, GCS Glass Mirror. Hey, thanks so much for telling us a little bit of your story today.